The message arrived without warning. It came from the High Galactic Council, the most powerful group in the known galaxy. For the first time in history, they invited humanity to attend official peace talks. The signal was formal. Polite. Careful. Let us build a future without war. Across human space, people watched the news in silence. This was the moment many had waited for. For years, tension had grown between humanity and the older alien empires. There had been border conflicts, trade wars, silent fleet movements near disputed systems. Nothing open. Nothing official. But everyone felt it. Now, suddenly, the Council wanted peace. On Earth, in the United Nations Orbital Command, military leaders stood around a glowing table. At the head stood Admiral Marcus Reyes. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. They chose a neutral system, one officer said. No weapons allowed within a 1 million kilometer radius of the station. Another officer frowned. All attending species must arrive in diplomatic vessels only. The room was quiet. Humanity had learned something the hard way: peace offers often came when your enemy felt afraid. And lately, the galaxy had reason to fear humans. In less than 3 centuries, humanity had expanded faster than any other species in history. They adapted quickly. Built faster ships. Developed stronger shields. Their soldiers were known for courage that felt almost reckless. Some called humans brave. Others called them dangerous. Admiral Reyes finally spoke. Prepare the Titan. The officers looked at him, but no one argued. Days later, in deep orbit above Mars, the Titan-Class Warship slowly powered up. It was massive. Nearly 10 kilometers long. Its hull was layered with black armor that absorbed light. Heavy rail cannons lined its sides. Missile bays rested beneath reinforced plating. Shield emitters glowed faint blue across its surface. It was not a diplomatic ship. It was a symbol. As it entered warp, space itself bent around it. In the neutral system, alien diplomats began to gather. Elegant silver cruisers. Long organic-shaped vessels glowing with soft colors. Smooth ships built to show trust, not strength. Then long-range scanners detected something else. Something huge. At first, the readings did not make sense. The mass was too large for a normal vessel. Then the image formed on their screens. The Titan-class warship exited warp like a moving fortress. Gas clouds shifted from its gravity wake. Smaller diplomatic ships looked like insects beside it. Shock spread through the council station. This cannot be correct. They were instructed to come unarmed. That is not a diplomatic vessel. Inside the Titan's command deck, Admiral Reyes stood before a wide viewing window. Stars reflected in his dark uniform. His crew worked calmly around him. Any sign of hidden weapons platforms? He asked. Yes, Admiral, a tactical officer replied. We are detecting faint energy signatures near the outer orbit. Cloaked. Numerous. Reyes nodded once. He had expected that. The council spoke of peace. But they prepared for betrayal. Humanity did the same. A transmission arrived from the council station. Human vessel, you are in violation of diplomatic agreement. State your intentions. Reyes allowed the ambassador beside him to answer. Humanity comes in peace, she said clearly. But we will not come defenseless. Silence followed. Across the system, alien fleets powered their shields. Weapons systems warmed quietly. No one fired. Not yet. The Titan drifted closer to the station, its massive guns still inactive but impossible to ignore. On the command deck, a young officer swallowed nervously. Sir, do you think they plan to attack? Reyes looked at the stars. I think they plan for options, he said calmly. So do we. Far beyond sensor range, hidden in deep space, an unknown signal pulsed once. Ancient. Cold. Watching. But no one in the council knew it yet. All they could see was the human warship approaching their fragile peace. And in every alien mind, the same question burned. Did humanity come to talk? Or were they preparing for something much worse? The council station looked peaceful from the outside. Bright lights covered its silver surface. Long transparent corridors connected floating towers. Flags of many alien empires moved slowly in artificial wind. To the galaxy, it looked like a symbol of unity. Inside, fear moved quietly. Alien leaders gathered in a circular chamber with high walls of glass. Through those walls, they could see the Titan-Class Warship waiting in orbit. It did not move. It did not aim its weapons. But its presence felt heavy, like a silent warning. They insult us, one reptilian delegate hissed softly. We asked for trust. They bring a fortress. Another leader, tall and thin with glowing blue skin, folded his hands. Or maybe they do not trust us. No one answered. Because deep inside, many of them knew the truth. Humanity had grown too fast. Too strong. In only a few hundred years, they matched fleets that took others thousands of years to build. Their engineers solved problems quickly. Their soldiers fought with strange courage. When humans lost battles, they returned stronger. That made the older empires nervous. Weeks before the invitation was sent, the council had held a secret meeting. Not all species were invited. Only the most powerful. If humans become stronger, one had said, they will control trade routes. They already control 3 key wormholes, another answered. They are unpredictable. So they created a backup plan. Hidden across the system were thousands of cloaked defense platforms. Small but powerful. Each carried enough energy to pierce capital-class shields. If activated together, they could destroy almost any fleet. Even a Titan. It was meant to be insurance. If the peace talks failed, or if humanity showed aggression, the trap would close. Now, in the present moment, the hidden platforms slowly powered up. Their energy signatures were faint but rising. On the Titan's command deck, sensors flashed. Tactical update, the officer said. Energy readings increasing across outer orbit. Confirmed multiple cloaked objects. Admiral Reyes crossed his arms. Numbers? Over 3,000 platforms, sir. A low whistle came from another crew member. The human ambassador stood beside Reyes. She remained calm. So this was never just peace. Reyes gave a small nod. Peace with conditions. On the council station, the human delegation entered the grand chamber. Cameras recorded every movement. Alien leaders smiled politely. The mood looked friendly. But tension filled the air. A senior council member spoke first. We welcome humanity. Let this be the start of a new era. The human ambassador answered in a steady voice. We also seek a stable future. Another alien leaned forward. Then why bring a warship? The chamber grew quiet. The ambassador did not hesitate. Because history has taught us something simple. Hope for peace. Prepare for betrayal. Murmurs spread around the room. Outside, the Titan adjusted its position slightly. Its massive engines glowed for only a second. On a distant moon, one of the hidden defense platforms activated fully. Its weapon core warmed. Inside the Titan, a new alert appeared. Admiral, the tactical officer said softly. We are detecting something else. Reyes turned. Define something else. Long-range scanners are picking up distorted space beyond the asteroid belt. It is not Council technology. It is not ours. Reyes stepped closer to the screen. The image was unclear, but the distortion was real. Something was moving in deep space. Slow. Massive. Watching. Back in the council chamber, discussions continued. Words about trade agreements. Border limits. Military reduction. But none of them knew that the system was no longer empty. The hidden defense grid was almost fully powered. The Titan stood ready. And from the dark edge of the system, an unknown presence drifted closer, silent and patient. The peace talks were only the beginning. The real test had not yet arrived. The first alarm did not come from the council station. It came from the Titan. On the command deck, every screen flashed red at the same time. A deep warning tone echoed across the massive ship. Multiple warp signatures detected, the sensor officer shouted. Bearing 097 Mark IV. Distance, outer asteroid belt. Admiral Reyes stepped forward. Size. The officer hesitated. Unknown. The readings are unstable. But, large. Very large. Across the system, alien fleets also picked up the signals. Diplomats stopped speaking. Military commanders rushed to their ships. The peaceful image of the meeting shattered in seconds. Then space tore open. It did not look like normal warp travel. There was no smooth blue ripple. Instead, darkness split apart like cracked glass. From that tear, black shapes emerged. Ships. If they could be called ships. They looked alive. Twisted metal mixed with organic curves. No visible windows. No clear engines. Their surfaces moved slightly, as if breathing. There are at least 40 of them, the tactical officer said. Energy output is extremely high. On the council station, panic spread quickly. That design, impossible, one old alien leader whispered. They were destroyed centuries ago. Who? Another asked. Before he could answer, the first shot was fired. One of the hidden defense platforms reacted automatically. A beam of bright energy cut across space and struck the nearest black vessel. The beam hit directly. And disappeared. No explosion. No damage. The dark ship did not even slow down. A cold silence filled every bridge in the system. Then the Black Fleet attacked. Thin streams of dark energy lashed out. They moved like spears made of shadow. One diplomatic cruiser was hit directly. Its shields failed instantly. The ship broke apart in seconds. Screams filled communication channels. The council defense grid activated fully. Thousands of platforms uncloaked at once. The sky around the station filled with weapons fire. Bright beams. Plasma torpedoes. Rail cannon rounds. The Black Fleet moved smoothly between the attacks. Some ships absorbed the impacts. Others seemed to bend space slightly, causing shots to miss. They are adapting, a human officer said quietly. Admiral Reyes made his decision. All human fleets, form defensive line around the council station. Sir, one officer asked in surprise. They plan to trap us. Reyes did not look away from the screen. That does not matter right now. The Titan-Class Warship moved forward. Its massive engines burned bright as it placed itself between the station and the advancing Black Fleet. Alien commanders watched in disbelief. The humans were protecting them. Charging main cannon, the weapons officer reported. Energy built along the spine of the Titan. The ship vibrated slightly. Lights flickered as power was redirected from secondary systems. Outside, one of the black vessels turned toward the Titan. It accelerated faster than expected, closing distance rapidly. Fire. A blinding beam of focused energy erupted from the Titan's primary cannon. It crossed the battlefield in a single second and struck the charging enemy ship. This time, there was an explosion. The black vessel split apart, pieces spinning into space. Shockwaves rolled outward. Even nearby ships felt the impact. For the first time, the unknown fleet paused. "They are analyzing us," the sensor officer said. Then more warp tiers opened. Not 40 ships. 80. The battlefield grew darker as more of the twisted vessels entered the system. Council fleets were struggling. Defense platforms were being destroyed one by one. Smaller ships tried to retreat but were cut down quickly. Inside the Titan, tension filled the air. "Shields holding at 70%, engineering reported. Multiple enemy vessels targeting us directly." Reyes took a slow breath. "This is why we came prepared," he said. On the council station, alien leaders stared at the human warship standing alone against the nightmare fleet. One whispered softly, they knew. Far beyond the battle, in deep space, something larger remained hidden. Watching. Waiting. And the real invasion had only just begun. The battlefield was no longer bright with diplomatic ships. It was burning. Debris floated everywhere. Broken hull pieces. Escape pods. Dead defense platforms drifting without power. The peaceful system had turned into a graveyard in less than 20 minutes. And in the center of it all stood the Titan. Shield strength at 60%, the tactical officer reported. Enemy ships adjusting formation. On the main screen, the black vessels began to move in a new pattern. They stopped rushing forward. Instead, they spread out, forming a wide circle around the human warship. "They are isolating us," a young lieutenant whispered. Admiral Reyes nodded. They learned from the first strike. Outside, 3 black ships fired at the same time. Not beams this time. Not energy spears. Instead, space twisted around the Titan as gravity itself was pulled and pushed violently. Warning alarms screamed. Gravitational distortion detected. The Titan's massive frame groaned as invisible pressure crushed against its shields. Several internal decks shook hard. Crew members were thrown to the floor. Compensating with counterfield generators, engineering shouted. For a moment, it looked like the Titan would break apart without a single visible wound. Then the ship stabilized. The human crew moved quickly. Calm. Focused. No panic. "Return fire," Reyes ordered. Rail cannons thundered along the Titan's sides. Heavy kinetic rounds slammed into 2 black vessels, punching through their dark armor. One ship exploded instantly. The other spun out of control. But the enemy did not retreat. Instead, the largest of the black ships began to move forward. It was twice the size of the others. Its surface was darker. Smoother. Almost like polished stone. Strange red lights pulsed slowly across its hull, like a heartbeat. Energy readings rising sharply, the sensor officer said. "That ship is charging something." On the council station, alien leaders watched in horror. Their fleets were shattered. Their secret defense grid was gone. Only the Titan still held the line. One of the alien commanders opened a channel to the human flagship. "Human Admiral, if you retreat now, we will cover your escape." Reyes answered without delay. "Negative. If that vessel fires, it will destroy you." Reyes looked at the massive dark ship on his screen. "Then we make sure it does not fire." Inside the Titan, power was redirected again. Non-essential systems shut down. Lights dimmed in some corridors. Every drop of energy flowed toward the forward cannons. The crew felt the shift. This was not a normal strike. This was everything. The giant black flagship fired first. A beam unlike anything seen before shot across space. It was not bright. It was pure darkness. Wherever it passed, stars behind it seemed to disappear. The beam hit the Titan's shields. For one terrifying second, there was silence. Then the entire human warship shook violently. Shield levels dropped from 50% to 20% in a blink. Several decks lost power. Sparks flew from control panels. Shield collapse in 10 seconds, someone shouted. Reyes did not move. Fire. The Titan answered. Its main cannon released a blast so intense that space rippled around it. The beam struck the black flagship directly in its center. Light exploded across the battlefield. The two forces collided, darkness and blazing energy pushing against each other. On every ship in the system, screens went white. When vision returned, both ships were still there. But cracks now covered the surface of the enemy flagship. Reyes gave one final order. All remaining batteries. Target those fractures. The Titan unleashed everything it had left. Missiles. Rail rounds. Secondary cannons. Every weapon fired at once. The fractured areas shattered. With a deep, silent flash, the black flagship split apart. The remaining enemy ships hesitated. For the first time since their arrival, they pulled back. One by one, warp tiers reopened. The dark vessels retreated into the void from where they came. Silence slowly returned. The Titan drifted in space, heavily damaged. Smoke escaped from small hull breaches. Several sections were dark. But it was still standing. On the council station, no one spoke for a long time. Humanity had not just survived. They had refused to fall. And somewhere far beyond the system, in the endless dark, something else had felt the death of the flagship. Something older. Something that would not ignore this defeat. For a long time, no one moved. The battlefield was silent except for drifting wreckage and weak distress signals. The dark enemy fleet had vanished into warped space, leaving only broken metal and shock behind. In the center of it all, the Titan floated, scarred, burned, but alive. Damage report, Admiral Reyes said quietly. Forward shields offline. 3 rail batteries destroyed. Casualties confirmed on decks 12 and 19, the officer replied. His voice was steady, but heavy. Reyes closed his eyes for one brief moment. Then he nodded. Begin rescue operations. Human ships first. Then council survivors. No one questioned the order. Around them, smaller human destroyers and frigates jumped into the system. They had been waiting on the edge of warp range. Now they moved carefully through debris fields, collecting escape pods, not just human, but alien as well. On the council station, leaders stared at the view screens in disbelief. The species they feared, had just saved them. One of the elder council members finally spoke. Open a secure channel to the human flagship. The communication line activated. The image of Admiral Reyes appeared. Behind him, parts of the bridge were damaged. Sparks still flickered from a wall panel. Crew members worked fast in the background. The alien leader bowed his head slightly. It was a gesture rarely shown to outsiders. Human Admiral, today, your people prevented our extinction. Reyes answered calmly. Today, we survived together. There was no pride in his voice. No anger. Just fact. Another council member hesitated before speaking. We must confess something. The hidden defense grid, it was meant as insurance against you. Reyes did not look surprised. We know. You knew? The alien asked, stunned. Yes, Reyes replied. That is why we came prepared. Silence filled the channel again. The council leader looked down. After what we planned, why protect us? Reyes turned slightly, looking out at the damaged battlefield through the viewport. Because if we fall divided, he said, we fall one by one. Those words spread quickly through the council chamber. Outside, long-range sensors suddenly detected something strange. Admiral, the sensor officer said slowly, we are receiving a transmission. From where? Unknown origin. Deep space. Not from within the system. The signal was distorted. Ancient. The sound was low and layered, like many voices speaking at once. Then it translated automatically. You have destroyed one of ours. The voice felt cold. Your strength is noted. Your resistance is temporary. Across the system, every surviving ship received the same message. We will return. And next time, we will not test you. The signal ended. A chill spread across every bridge and command room. The threat was not over. It had only begun. On the Titan, Reyes stood quietly. Track their warp trail. Sir, it leads beyond known map space. Reyes gave a small nod. Then we expand the maps. Back on the council station, alien leaders exchanged worried looks. For centuries, they believed they controlled the galaxy. They believed they understood every major threat. They were wrong. And if not for humanity's decision to bring a warship to a peace meeting, they would already be gone. Hours later, as repair drones moved across the Titan's damaged hull, the human ambassador spoke once more to the council. This is your choice now, she said. You can fear us. Or you can stand with us. No one mentioned hidden weapons again. One by one, council fleets lowered their shields in a gesture of respect. In orbit, the wounded Titan slowly turned toward open space. Not retreating, but preparing. Preparing for the next war. Preparing for the enemy that promised to return. And across the galaxy, a new truth began to spread. When humanity arrives with a Titan-Class warship, it is not to threaten peace. It is to protect it. And when the darkness comes again, it will not face the galaxy alone.